So yeah, what's up? My name is Pedro. I'm from Brazil, and I recently found your your YouTube channel on YouTube, and I gotta be honest with you, bro. I'm just in love with the game you've been making, and I know it's really early access, and it's a pretty much precursor state, but I have some suggestions, and I I'm actually a biology student here in Brazil, and also I really like coding and computer stuff. So maybe I've been thinking about how to implement some biological systems and coding at the same time. Hey, I'm back. Sorry for the cut. I went to grab a snack, and but as I was saying, I've been thinking about this game and comparing it to other evolution simulators, and I think honestly think this has, for me, the greatest potential of all of them. Until recently, we've had just really simple and kind of only mathematical simulators and games that treat evolutions, and this is the first one I see which combines this kind of spore-like, and I say spore-like because I think you got inspired by it, and spore-like and this scientific responsibility. And I've been thinking a lot how you could achieve better results in both performance and, how do I say, biological standards and evolution standards if you consider treating and working with populations in this game instead of individuals. I don't really know how the code is made, but maybe you could consider, instead of simulating every single one of these trees and these plants, you could, let me pause for a second, you could understand them as populations from a species, like from a species. For example, I made this Lego simulation. I was just playing around, and if I take this one, for example, which is pretty much everything extinct, so just only this one still remains. But look, these are all the individuals that are here, like, but you can think as a population of vapai and populations of it, and maybe, like, for example, imagine if this one was alive, its population would consist of, let's imagine, 10 individuals, okay, and maybe you could store the characteristics of only this, of the population, and treat them as a population in the sense that, well, this tree is from these populations, so it behaves like this, and the set of rules is just applied to that population. And maybe you could even consider that, maybe you could think, well, so if I have a lot of populations and they kind of behave accordingly to the population, we could just maybe the simulation would be frozen, like it would freeze because, well, these three would think, well, I'm from population A and population A behaves like that, and so I cannot behave differently, and we we wouldn't simulate anything. But what we could do, and what also can happen in nature itself, and not necessarily, and I thought about it in a controllable way, in a make the player could play around with this, but with there is, oh, sorry, sorry, I'm not used to, you know, talking and making videos, so I might talk like a dumbass, but I think it is. Here we have the mutation button, right? And maybe instead of just allowing random mutations throughout all of those individuals, and if like this individual has a chance to mutate as much as this one, imagine if we had around here a population visualizer, and we have this kind of graph showing different circles with different proportions of populations, and throughout the map, and through the map I don't know how to sorry, I'm not native speaker, so but and what you could do is control the amount of mutation in each population. So imagine, for example, we have this plant and this plant and this plant, okay, and they each one of these belongs to a population, and I click this and it says like population X, and I say, well, I want to improve the amount of mutations per generation that happens through this population. And then in a code in which you work with populations instead of individuals, in a population like with 100 individuals and an amount of mutation which is like, for example, 30%, you could simulate only 30 individuals, or and stuff like that. And I thought about it in a very biological way, and because, you know, it's natural, it's literally the source of evolution, the variability inside the population. And what you could do is make also again, this can be maybe chosen by the user, the player, or standard in the code, but you can make some kind of tolerance in which the game itself interprets what a new population is. So for example, I have this population right here, and consists of, I don't know, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, those 10 individuals, right? And this is the population A. So the amount of mutation, it's 10%, and the code interprets this as this population, and it is, and one of these has a chance of mutating, and its offspring its offspring will be changed. And then if these offspring, so the code will be looking at this guy right here, its mutated offspring, and it will see the, how do I say, the weight of this mutation, and if it's able to have more offspring or not. Like for example, it mutates to bark, and right here a tree with bark is born, and well, until some specific point which can be written in the code, you can say like, oh no, this offspring which is born is just a different individual of this population, so it will behave pretty much the same but a little bit different. And after it makes more babies, or it has its offspring, and this offspring starts to evolve and evolving number, the code can understand and say, oh, this is a new population. So now what you have is this population right here and another population, and the code now can say, okay, I'll just, you know, this population behaves like this population behaves like this, so yeah, I don't need to think anymore and only individuals. I can think in populations and species, and maybe this could even be controlled by the user, because in science, I imagine, I really imagine you are a biology student or something like that, or just to be sure, to be you know truthful, I'm not a biologist yet. I'm studying, so I'm not a specialist or anything. But what's what happens is, like, there's no cut between, oh, okay, now that's a species and now there isn't. In history and nature history and evolution, this doesn't happen. So maybe you could, you know keep a lot of hardware and coding and performance, just, and also kind of being more accurate, thinking about populations. And I don't know, this is just a suggestion. That the video might be, just kind of dumb, but keep the good work, man. You've been making a great game, honestly. And I really wish your channel grows, and your work prospers, because it's simply amazing. Simply it's simply amazing, uh, honestly. So yeah, congrats. I've been thinking about a lot of other stuff, and I've probably just making these little videos or compile everything in a little document and send you if you want. But you can call me on Discord if you want. It would be a really good pleasure to talk with you and discuss this amazing work you've been doing. Okay, so thank you a lot.